Hi, my name is Ryan Fulmer, and I'm a communication major at Wittenberg University. Today I plan to talk about rhetorical theory, rhetorical criticism, and how to do these things. So rhetorical criticism is basically trying to find a deeper meaning for a certain artifact. An artifact can be anything. It can be a song, it can be a commencement speech, it can be a TV show, or it can be a journalistic article, which is what I decided to use for my analysis. The purpose of being a rhetorical critic is so you can find out what the writer's trying to say either explicitly or subconsciously, because not everything that is said is always true, and we need to look deeper into these things in order to find out the truth. Communication scholars have worked for decades to figure out different ways to analyze artifacts, and in Communication 301, Critical Methods, we learned about 8 different methods to analyze an artifact. These methods are neo-Aristotelianism, fantasy theme analysis, cluster criticism, generic criticism, ideological criticism, metaphoric criticism, narrative criticism, and pentadic criticism. In my attempt to be a rhetorical critic, I decided to analyze 3 opinion articles from major daily news outlets about Donald Trump's first 100 days as a president using cluster criticism. I will first address cluster criticism and what it is and why I chose it. Cluster criticism was developed by Kenneth Burke for the purpose of revealing a writer's orientation or worldview about a situation. The first step when doing cluster criticism is to find out what are the key terms. Key terms are words that are repeated throughout an artifact, and they're found by its intensity or how frequently it's used. After finding the key terms, you have to locate the cluster terms, which are words that appear in close proximity to the key terms through a conjunction or a cause and effect relationship. Once you find the necessary terms, you must chart them in a way that helps a critic find the patterns that reveal worldview that was constructed by the writer. So I chose this method because when trying to answer the question of how do journalists in our society feel about Trump's first 100 days in office, this seemed like the best method to discover hidden worldviews. The first artifact that I analyzed using cluster criticism was an opinion article from the Washington Post titled, "Trump Says His First 100 Days Have Been a Historic Success. History Disagrees." The article begins with a quote by Donald Trump about his first 100 days as president, saying that he doesn't think there's been any other presidential period in the first 100 days that's done a better job than what he's done thus far. The writer then claims that President Trump is wrong and compares his first 100 days to 8 different presidents who have all done significantly more than he has to this point. So when doing my cluster analysis, I discovered 3 key terms: Trump, 100 days, and president. The cluster terms that were found around him were all negative terms like unexceptional, fake news, alienated, damage, and lasting. So after finding the terms and analyzing the patterns, I believe the writer's worldview on Trump's first 100 days is that he's done a poor job at one of the most significant times while holding the most powerful position in the entire country. The next artifact that I chose to analyze appeared in the New York Times titled "Donald Trump's First 100 Days, Worst on Record." In this article, the writer claims that this is the worst 100 days since the concept was created in 1993 because of 5 key points. The cluster analysis will let me find 3 key terms, similar as the last one: Trump, president, and 100 days. The cluster terms that were found around it were nag, disappointed, scandal, weak, unpopular, and low. Once I charted the clusters and found the patterns, I determined that the writer's worldview is that Trump has yet to accomplish anything significant and has let down some Americans through unkept promises by his campaign. The final artifact that I used appeared in USA Today titled, "Donald Trump has made the right enemies in his first 100 days." So in reading the article, the writer doesn't seem too happy with Trump's first 100 days, but after doing the cluster analysis, the worldviews seemed to disagree. The key terms were Trump and 100 days. The cluster terms were meaningful, signed, dealt, decision, and lacks blame. This led me to believe that the writer thinks 100-day benchmark doesn't prove anything, that Trump has accomplished some meaningful things thus far. Now, going back to the question of how does journalists in our society feel about Trump's first 100 days in office? After analyzing the 3 opinion articles from major daily news outlets and using cluster criticism, it revealed that most Americans believe Trump's first 100 days didn't live up to his campaign promises, and they can be considered disappointed. So that's an example on how to do cluster criticism, how to do rhetorical analysis, and why it's important to look deeper in things that you see around you. So I hope this helps.